wanted to watch this.
We've all heard of the legendary weakened 667 damage moment in the Smite Pro League.
Oh, this is up. How can you do me like this again?
The full story behind that already up on my channel. But on the 23rd of October 2021, a player by the name of Rapio set out to
hold on. This is 2021. So this is season 8. This is 6 seasons later. This is that much more recent. Think about this. My low damage game was 8 years ago. This one was 2 years ago. Nobody even knows about this fucking damage match.
Claim some of that fame for himself. This fairly unassuming Smite Challenger Circuit playoff game between Goodnight Nick and the Cossacks fan club would decide who remains in the playoffs and who goes home packing. The first 2 games of this set were dominant victories for each team. Game 1 went solidly in favour of the Cossacks fan club, while Goodnight Nick answered back hard in Game 2 with their own dominant performance. So as Game 3 started, a lot was resting on these teams to prove in this final match who was truly the better team. And while this match was in the Challenger Circuit playoffs, it wasn't some no-name semi-pro match by any means. Some
the thing was, there's a ton of pros.
Names like Deathwalker, Ice Ice,
there's a lower damage.
Of GNN with
there's another low damage from months before this because Panatom also went to 20 minutes with 0 damage. I don't know why he didn't cover Panatoms. I'm surprised he covered an SCC one before Panatoms, unless he doesn't know about Panatoms either. And then there was an ADC too. I don't know if it was Reels or someone else also had 0 damage up to like the 18 or 20 minute mark.
PL on the side of Cossacks fan club, among other great minor league players. This was by no means a random.
Sino finished with 2K last weekend? Can someone pull up the screenshot? 2K?
Noob match.
Picks
and bans went as normal for the time, with a nice Geb counterpick to the Fenrir on the side of Goodnight Nick. This Geb will become more relevant later on, don't worry. As GNN round out their comp with 2 Guardians of their own, our star of the show shows up with his last pick, Thanatos, a god Rapio is somewhat known for dominating the early game with, especially in the console league. To reiterate,
I know at 4,500, still less than me in my game. That's my Odin game.
To mid-game gods there is. But of course, to get that big damage online, you need to farm. And so farm he did.
Has the blink, but seems more interested in securing the buff than going for the kills.
And farm some more, and some more, and some more.
All right, well, what's the score to this game?
Tell, Rapio was playing
it's a dead even game. Nobody's fighting.
Getting him a small farm lead over Ice Ice on the Fenrir.
Through the mouth, he's looking for the buff. Okay, I thought he was going to be looking for a gank, but it's the buff.
No, why would he?
After being caught out by Deathwalker's Cerberus around the 5-minute mark, Rapio is forced to use Hovering Death defensively, putting his aggression on hold for a little while. Not only can Thanatos not engage or secure kills as well without this, but he also risks a lot more by going in without that get out of jail free card available. But he doesn't just get Hovering Death forced once. Deathwalker basically spent the entire early game roaming the enemy solo side jungle just looking for Rapio, and at the 9-minute mark in, he again forces
Deathwalker is bamboozling this man.
Out of commission for another minute or so. And again at 13 minutes.
This is just him being outplayed by Deathwalker.
And it was a combination of the game in general
reacting. They even 10 gifted, bro.
1 kill and no objectives taken at 13 minutes in, but also Rapio's own passive play in this game and Deathwalker's.
Wait, so he ulted 4 times just to run away from Deathwalker?
All these factors led to one of the most infamous pro Smite moments of all time.
Aggro, if you want to break down that team fight, it's gonna have to be you because I'm having.
He's at 0 damage
right now. Yeah. Thanatos, 14 minutes, 20 seconds into the game, has got 0 damage on the board. I am having an actual panic attack on the cast.
Bro, you told me my damage though?
Breathe. It's an early game god, bro. Tessite does like 1,000 on its own. Just throw it at somebody.
After almost 14 minutes of gameplay in one of the highest levels of Smite, Rapio had 0 player damage.
First, we have to talk about this. His team comp is not super aggressive, right? Like it could, like it's not aggressive. But it isn't my fucking team comp where we had Mercury solo, Afro mid, Capri fucking support, okay? This man had a Geb. He could go in and do whatever he wanted.
And not the, quote, 0 damage that your Platinum 5 ADC had at the end of a 30-minute game. Actually 0 player damage. This man didn't hit a single ability or basic attack for 14 minutes on one of the most dominant early game gods in Smite. At least Weaken had 667 damage at this point. Rapio is going for a new record.
Damn right. You better give me my fucking props, Intersect. Damn fucking right.
As I said, it was a pretty passive game until this point, and even Ice Ice on the Fenrir only had a little over 1k damage, but still, not hitting a single ability or basic attack in 14 minutes is absolutely a new Smite record. It took until this team fight at 16 minutes in, where Calvin gets a beautiful engage onto Envious, for Rapio to actually get some damage, and boy does he. At this point in the video, you're probably assuming that's sarcasm.
He gives him 500 for an execute?
That's
nice.
3,000 damage in this one fight.
Oh
and
shit, he clapped in this fight.
Doing more damage in one fight than Disfenria has
Wait,
done.
Ice low as fuck in this
Coming out with
game.
a double kill, Rapio is finally on the board, and it won't end here. He's been biding his time, powering up this whole game, and he's finally ready to go super.
Look. You guys want to shit on me back then? This is two of the best. Like, these are early game only junglers, and these motherfuckers aren't even over 2K. But ain't nobody shitting on these guys. Not one soul bringing up a word about these guys.
To go Super Saiyan 4 on this GNN roster. After a brief nostalgic visit back to the days of getting his ult forced on cooldown, Rapio goes full Ultra Instinct in this 23-minute team fight.
Mad about it, but we're out of the early
here we
game.
go. Blink in from Bevy Monster. Stopped. He going for that one, but Rapio's getting.
He's just getting free executes, dude. I should have played Thanatos the game I played Odin.
My man, when he's doing damage, he means it. It's a triple kill for Rapio. And he might
But he went from 0 damage at 16 minutes to the top damage in the game almost.
And only kills them all whenever he gets in there. Rapio go for it and should be able to.
Oh yeah, he stole his penta, bro.
You scum! You absolute trash can!
No joke. Your support takes your penta in a game like that, you fucking leave.
Garbage!
If he had any self-respect, he fucking leaves the game.
F6, you don't deserve it anymore. Rapio has been biding his time for 24 uninterrupted minutes, waiting for the pentakill opportunity, and it is stripped away by one stinky boy. We all hate you, bro. Block him on Twitter.
Hazardous gifted you sub.
I can't believe it. And that's how it's going to end, by the way.
Oh, that was the whole match?
Rapio goes from 0 to hero, even though he's not playing Hercules. It's a quadra kill for Rapio to send Goodnight Nick to bed.
Yo, I think the other thing that's crazy is people think I was in this game.
On the 26th of May 2016, a Pro League match of Smite was played
So, also the other thing that's crazy, leading up to this team and this roster was when I got kicked. This team kicked me and then lost every game, and all their players quit. So when people bring up Weekend, you got kicked, bro, the team literally crumbled into a bajillion pieces the second they kicked me.
Went down in the history books for all the wrong reasons.
Dust was a sub because Omega was DCing, but he left. They looked into it. He left. He just left the game because he didn't want to play anymore because his team was ass.
But first, some context. The two teams duking it out in this Week 9 match of the SPL Season 3 were Team Envious and Saw Gaming.
So hold on.
Game 1 of this set ended
He's
in
not going to talk about it. So
game.
this
Season
team
3
comp,
next.
this team when it started the year was me, Cyclone, Kiki. Wasn't Allied? Was Allied playing then? Allied mid, and then Omega. They kicked me for... Wait, did it? No, Incon had already been kicked because Omega was on the team. Kiki was supporting, right? Allied was mid and Kiki was... Yeah, Kiki went to support. Allied went mid because that's what he did on console. And Cyclone went to ADC, which was all led up to like one of the reasons Cyclone went ADC. They kicked me. They replaced me with Mask. The team got shit on and Omega shit on Mask and blamed Mask for the problem. So Mask got kicked and they moved Cyclone to jungle. They put Snoopy in at support. Allied quit too or bowed out. They brought Yannick in to play support and moved Kiki to mid. This is all Omega. This is just Omega literally fucking this team over. And then Omega's the solo. They play a game. I believe they played a game before this. He was disconnecting and it was bullshit. So they had to bring in their sub Dust. And then this is where the most infamous game of all time came from. So that team kicked me and then the whole thing fell apart. Yeah, Omega, first of all, he lied to get me kicked. But it was crazy because I got kicked. I don't remember who told me. I think it was Omega told me. And I was like, okay. It was like a cool, great job. And I went and I talked to the owner, which is Hastro, who still owns Envy. I like talk to him. Like I got in, I don't know, it was a call or whatever. And I was like, yeah. He's like, yeah, they wanted to kick you because of this and this. I was like, that never happened. And that's not why they just told me they kicked me. And he was like, oh. And it was like at that moment that I realized Envy was not staying in Smite. It's like right then I knew. It was like, this man does, like, he doesn't even want to deal with it, bro. He's like, he doesn't even want to deal with it. Yeah, Omega was like, Weekend only plays. This was old Paragon when it first came out. He's like, he doesn't even play Smite anymore practice. I was scrimming every day. I was just streaming Paragon at night, which was more than half of my team was playing Smite, which is what they told the owner. But then when they kicked me, they were like, yeah, you're just not good enough. That was after we came off of me being the like top 1 or 2, maybe 3 junglers all year the year before, which is crazy. But yeah, this is how this team formed. This isn't even a real roster. This is like bits and pieces thrown together. I mean, you got Cyclone, who was the best solo laner in the world, bullying Omega at the time, to go to ADC, and then you move them out of ADC after winning an Xbox World Championship to jungle.
In this week 9 match
was
of
crazy.
the SPL Season 3 were Team Envious and Saw Gaming. Game 1 of this set ended in disaster for Envious, as their solo laner Omega experienced a disconnect during the match, causing them to lose. You might be able to win 4v5s in your 3 AM casual games, but at the pro level, being down a player is an absolute...
The other side to this, was, if I'm not mistaken, which I don't think I am, the set before this, 1 or 2 sets before this, was when I rejoined the SPL after being kicked. I joined the ALG team, and going into the match, we played Envy first with their new roster, not this roster. With their new roster, and Omega was talking tons of shit. It was all over Reddit, it was all over like a YouTube, Twitter, everywhere, and I fucking smashed him. So I shit on him after he talked all that shit. Then this happened and he quit and he never came back. His career ended.
Absolute death sentence with 0 chance of winning. The team at the time believed the issue to be on Hi-Res end and not an issue with Omega's hardware or internet. It was later confirmed that there were no issues with Hi-Res servers and the problem was on Omega.
See that? He quit.
But at the time, Team Envious saw this first match as
dude just quit because he was tired of losing, because he was a terrible leader, worst fucking leader in Smite's history.
Basically, the salt levels were running pretty high on the Envious roster, and after finding a substitute for their absentee solo laner in Dust, Game 2 went on as normal, or so everyone thought. Something seemed a little off when the entire Envious roster bought the movement speed boots and nothing else, combined with 3 summoners, 1 sprint, and 1 slowing curse. Was this some gigabrain strat to secure the win they thought was rightfully theirs? Well, not exactly. Leaving the base, the oddities continued, as Envious's entire roster ran up the duo lane at breakneck pace thanks to their movement speed boots. As casters attempted to justify this obvious...
So as this was happening, everyone knew that this was not real. Everyone knew that this was trolling. There was no person who legitimately thought like this team is trying to win this game. Nobody.
Trolling by pointing out their relics and god picks that could work for getting a level 1 first blood.
In theory, this should work, right? Because you have a lot of chain lockdown CC.
They're also invading one of the best teams at that time.
Well, right now, which will amplify the damage. And you have a lot of mobility with all the shoes.
In their minds, I'm sure something completely different was being said. What in the holy fatalis are they doing? Hindu Man eventually sees through this facade and calls out this plan for what it is. The ultimate salty runback with some extremely unsportsmanlike trolling strats mixed in.
You're too nice, Tony, because at the moment all I'm seeing is they were salty after game 1 and the situation there, and now they're trying something crazy for game 2.
As jungle buffs spawned, Envious made their move, creeping in from the duo lane jungle towards the mid, support, and ADC.
I wish there was Twitch chat on this too,
little
dude.
did they know were about to make Smite history. In a move that would make Loki turn in his grave, Envious were spotted out long before they could make a real move and get a pick for first blood, and Saw backs up to their back happy camp. The slowing curse is instantly countered by the slow immunity from Saw's sprint as Sobek makes his killer entry, plucking the mid lane squishy that definitely won't have beads ready. I mean, who builds beads on squishies? But little did they know, Saw in fact did have beads, and the engage is immediately snuffed out. Stealing away Saw's back camps in return for what could have been several of their own camps taken by now, it would seem Envious's Gigabrain invade strategy had fizzled. But like a bull, they see red on Sol's body and health bar, and Snoopy makes the first move under tower. The Sunder lands, the dash lands, and there's no beads to stop it this time. Is Sol doomed to die for first blood? Will Envy take that lead and snowball to a grand victory? Critically, Mercury dies to the tower and not to Sol's mid laner, and so first blood is gifted over to Envious. With a massive lead of 300 gold, could this be the end for Saw Gaming? Well, after 3-man splitting a mid-wave for some insane farming efficiency, Envious begin to make their way to their own buffs, but after clearing the solo wave, Saw's jungler and solo are 2 steps ahead of them and secure Envy's blue for themselves, hitting level 3 in the process. With a combined level 2 levels below the enemy team.
So at this time, in terms of you know, 1v2s, 1v3s, 2v3s, 2v4s. These are two of the best gods in the game at this time. Thor's scaling on his ability, his power from gods was insane, and Bologna was easily the best 1v1 warrior at the time.
Team Envy make their engage onto Bologna and Thor, two extremely strong early game gods.
This is also Baskin, who was the best solo laner, considered best solo laner at the time.
Left in a 1v4 situation. Surely Envious have the upper hand here. Well, if you're a Bologna main worth your salt, you know that her 2 bludgeon massively increases in damage for each god you hit with the initial spin. That slam lands Baskin pretty much an instant triple kill and sends Mercury packing. After one final attempt to take down the raid boss, Snoopy finally falls and a just frame F6 vote comes through after just 1 minute and 35 seconds of the match. Smite.
Yeah, Bologna's 2 used to be busted. Like, I would run Bologna jungle every game. That busted. This was also one of the only surrenders, I believe, ever in the Pro League. Ever. We were pretty much told to never surrender the game. Like, if the game was over, just, you know, play it out. Not like you could just mess around and just start talking about the next game. Never to surrender, and they surrendered at the 4-minute mark.
Like, custom games can be surrendered at any time, but SPL games cannot. There's a rule that surrender votes can't happen before 10 minutes.
This isn't even like this is the rule. The real rule was don't surrender the game. That was like the real rule. Never surrender again.
Match-made game, and so what Envious did here broke a core rule of the Smite Pro League. The team was fined $500 per player and had to forfeit any prize money earned from the event. Following this, Omega and Snoopy, arguably the 2 players carrying the team at the time, would leave the roster, and shortly following that, Envious would drop out of the Smite Pro League, never to return again.
I remember when I was getting kicked, I was like, there's no way they stay in the league for very long.
True display of amazing sportsmanship and game ethics from the Envious.
Envy, C9, TSM, and Envy were the biggest orgs to ever be in Smite. TSM did not give a shit about Smite. They literally tweeted a day after the championship, good luck to our Smite team in their championship. They'd already lost. They'd already got shit on. C9, they handled things right. I don't think they cared too much about Smite, but they handled it correctly. And then Envy was kind of the same boat as C9.
Roster here, an inspiration to us all.
That's a crazy, that's just a crazy match.